My childhood was unusual in that we travelled a lot. I was born in Tasmania, which is the island to the south of Australia, and I was very young when my father was given the opportunity to continue his studies in medicine at the Royal College of Surgeons in Edinburgh in Scotland. And then the family, this is amazing, my mother was extraordinary. You imagine taking 3 kids, you know, through Asia and Europe in the 70s. I mean, today it's hard, but imagine back then. We lived in Scotland, then Wales and England, Hong Kong, and then Singapore. And so all our holidays and travels would be in those parts of the world, in Europe and then in Asia. So yeah, we traveled a lot, and it was incredibly rewarding in that it broadens all your horizons. At the same time, I felt quite isolated. I think it's pretty common if you have to move a lot. And perhaps that theme of wanting to be apart and be connected is one that comes through in my work a little bit. And in many ways, perhaps that experience directed me towards joining the military. I originally wanted to be a zoologist. I've always loved being around animals, and the British author and humorist and naturalist Gerald Durrell was a childhood hero. I read all his books. But no matter how much I loved going out to see wild creatures and wild places, that love was never actually returned. And over the course of a few years, I was bitten and stung and gored by pretty much everything. I've even been bitten by penguins twice, which is some sort of record, I think. You know, after all these various dramatic attacks, I decided that it was a little bit too dangerous for me, and so I joined the Army instead. I graduated from the Royal Military College in the late 80s, and then after working my way through infantry, ended up in the paratroops and served for about 3 years or so. My military service is without a doubt one of the highlights of my life. I mean, I met some extraordinary people, did some extraordinary things, and went to some extraordinary places, but I'd always assumed that I'd get out one day. I got to say, it didn't end as I'd imagined. I had a bit of a setback. I was on an operation in northern Australia in the tropics, and I got this really nasty respiratory infection, and I continued and finished the operation, but when I got back to the base, it just basically went berserk, and after I had recovered, it had brought on a respiratory condition that prevented me from serving in a combat force for the rest of my life. So it sounds bizarre, but you know, I cried for the first time in 10 years. I can't gloss over it. It was incredibly hard, you know. And it was funny too, because I mean, I had to go from being this elite paratroop commander, and you sort of walk into a room and these big tough guys, you know, jump to their feet and basically will do whatever you need them to do, to working, you know, in a Mexican restaurant carrying tacos 6 nights a week, and people snapping their fingers, and I was running around grabbing salsa. And I worked in a number of stores. I was an art gallery guide. I worked in a steel factory cutting and welding, did a lot of labouring, did some security work. You know, I was even a giant red M&M for a chocolate promotion. So these were tough times, and that sort of set the scene from where the Blue Day book originally came from.